Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys what no one tells you about starting a business. For those of you who do not know, my name is Sephora. I'm a licensed attorney and six-figure business owner on this channel. I talk about life, law, and business. And when I started my business back in 2022, I've made six figures my first full year in business. Since then, I've had multiple $20,000 months, $30,000 months, and I'm telling you everything about how I did it, what I learned, what I wish someone had told me. If you like that type of content, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. Follow me on all my other social media at Sephora Gray Esquire, ESQ for short. So I've got my phone with me today instead of my laptop because that's in my office and my phone is just fine. So what no one tells you about starting your business, it can get lonely. I mean, it can be so lonely and isolating that it's almost just like, wow. And, I think there's a couple of reasons for that. When you start a business, when you're first starting a business, especially, you're probably going to feel a little bit like you're in this thing alone because maybe no one is rooting for you, or maybe you're like the first business owner in your family, or maybe just like your friends and your family, they're not very supportive of what you're doing, or they're not openly supportive, or maybe they're even tearing you down, right? So maybe they're like, why are you posting so much? Or what are you doing? Or why are you selling this, right? And so that's one way that it can be really lonely. I'll tell you, like, when I first started my business, I wouldn't say like my family was very supportive. My boyfriend was very supportive, but I would say like my friends necessarily, they weren't like outwardly like super supportive. Like, it's not like they were commenting on my stuff. It's not like they were like, oh my gosh, this is great. It's not like they were sharing my stuff, right? So they weren't like super outwardly supportive, but they also weren't like against it either. Like, why are you doing that? Or like, oh, whatever, like, right? They weren't doing that either, And there are some exceptions to that. Of course, like some of my friends were sharing my stuff. Some of them like were commenting and all that good stuff and telling other people about me. But I think just like in the grand scheme of things, you have to be willing to power through that, even if it's just you. Like, you have to essentially be your own support system, and having a support system is so important. So what I would recommend to kind of rectify this, like how it can be a little bit lonely and isolated in the beginning, is to join a group of like-minded people. Like, find other people who are in business, find other people who are starting businesses like you are already in business. They'll not only like help you with those feelings of like not feeling like you're doing what everyone else is doing, especially if what they're doing is like 9 to 5, but also it'll help you with mentorship, right? In guiding you, especially if these people are a couple steps ahead of you. The other thing that can be really isolating is once your business starts to do well. So like I said, I made six figures my first full year in business. And I think once your business really starts to do well, it gets to a point where like and I was working full-time, and I still work full-time while running my business. So not only was I making my full-time income as an attorney, but I was also making my six-figure income as a business owner. And so there comes a point where it's like you're making a lot of money from your business and it shifts your mindset. And I have a whole video on like mindset shifts already, and maybe I'll make another one that like mindset shifts business owners specifically need to have. But for you to make a significant amount of money in your business, you do have to have mindset shifts. Like, you do have to believe that money is abundant and you can get it from anywhere. You do have to believe that you can make as much money as possible, as much money as you want. I remember literally waking up one morning, and that state when you're like just waking up and it's right before you're like fully awake, but you're not fully sleeping either. I was in that state, and I just remembered literally like half thinking to myself. So it wasn't like a conscious thought. It was more of like a subconscious / conscious thought. And it was literally like, I can make as much money as I want. And you really have to believe that. And the fact that I was saying that, and I had just made $10,000 in 3 days when I had that thought. So of course, like, that's why that thought was there, but it's so true. And it's these types of mindset shifts. Again, let me know in the comments below if you want me to do a whole video on it. But it's these kinds of mindset shifts that you do have to have as a business owner when you do want to hit those six-figure years and continue growing to like 500,000, $500,000, and then $1 million. I'm not there yet, but I will be soon. So, when you start to have these mindset shifts, it shows in your actions, it shows how you think, it shows in how you act. And that in and of itself can be isolating, right? Because your friends who aren't business owners, maybe they don't think like that. Or other people who aren't business owners, maybe they aren't thinking like money is abundant and it comes from anywhere and you can make as much as if you want, because they don't know to think like that, or they don't have a business, or that isn't their reality, even though it is yours. And the truth is, you do have to think that way before it actually becomes a reality. And so that can be isolating. Again, like to help mitigate that, again, it's joining that group. For me, that group was Hello 7, which is, if you don't know, Rachel Rogers' company, was in her like business coaching community. And it's just literally a group of women entrepreneurs, women business owners making tons of money, 7 figures, 6 figures, 7 figures. And that's what that was for me. So that's how I filled that gap. The next thing that no one tells you about your business when just starting out is that if you don't already have a family of business owners or entrepreneurs or whatever it may be, you really don't have anyone to run your ideas by. Like, it's like because I remember when I was starting out, I would get so many ideas. I would like wake up with ideas and be like, is this a good idea? I don't know, but I'm gonna do it, right? But I think now that I'm almost fully 2 years into my business, that I do take a little bit longer to think about things. And by a little bit longer, I mean, instead of taking 1 day, I'll maybe take 3 days, right? So it's still not this super long process, but there are some things that now, like once I have begun hitting these regular $20,000 months and such, where it's just kind of like, okay, now I want to be really intentional and really smart with the decisions that I'm making and making sure that it's something that's going to scale my business. And so something that can be a little bit isolating is not having someone there to run those ideas by. And the best thing that I found for this, again, is just having that group, right? Having that group that I talked about before, having those trusted business advisors, but also a business coach, okay? Just having a business coach to talk to about this stuff, because that's what they're there for, right? They're here to push you forward. They're here to guide you. They're here to help your business. And that is just going to, again, just propel you even faster. Having coaches, advisors, all of that is going to propel you even quicker to hit your goals. And so that's a good, I guess, mitigation strategy for that one. The next thing that I think no one tells you is that it's okay to mess up. I think especially like in this social media era and even in real life, people are so afraid of mistakes. People are so afraid of failure. They're so afraid of like their business not panning out, their idea not panning out, or making a post and it gets no comments. I made a post the other day on Instagram and it got no comments. And guess what? I really didn't care. I literally didn't care. But that's not how I was a year or two ago. It's something that just becomes natural to you when you keep doing it. And so you have to be okay with messing up. You have to be okay with failing. You have to be okay with, hey, my post flops. Hey, my email flops. Hey, my launch flops. You have to be okay with that, because then you learn from it. You learn from it and you learn what to do better. You learn how to move forward. And also, like, the quicker you mess up, the quicker you will succeed. If you don't do things because you're so afraid of failure or you're so afraid of messing up, then you're just not going to succeed as quickly as someone who is willing to just go out there and fail. Like I like to say, it's fail quicker. That's like a whole nother video idea. So maybe I'll have to do one, because I have a lot to say on the topic with just failing quicker, and stop letting like this fear of failure stop you from succeeding in everything that you do, including your business. The final thing that I think no one tells you when starting your business is that it's a constant learning process. I think like so many times people like they just parade or they shower this fast success model, right? And don't get me wrong, I recognize that hitting 6 figures my first full year in business is deemed fast success. I recognize that. But also, that's not the reality for most people. And then also at the same time, that came with, again, like I said, a lot of trial and error. I wasn't thinking about something for a week before I put it into practice. I was testing different things. If I wanted to try something, I did it. I wasn't afraid to. I found what worked and I kept doing it. If it didn't work, I stopped. I wasn't doing what everyone else was doing. I was doing what worked for me. And I have a whole video on it already. Actually, like, it's called How I Made 6 Figures My First Year in Business and How You Can Too. And I literally talk about how I did it. But it truly is a constant learning process, not only learning from other people and just staying so educated. So I'll talk about that in a second, but also just being willing to learn from your mistakes and not being afraid to make those mistakes, and then picking up and continuing on things that you do good on. And the second part of that, which is the education piece, is I read so many books and listened to so many podcasts. I had a 5-hour flight the other day and I listened to a 6-hour audiobook, The Psychology of Selling. right? And I have a whole thing on my phone of notes. Normally I sleep on the plane, but I was like, no, I'm gonna listen to this audiobook. And it was great. It changed the way I approach my sales process. And I like it. I like it so much, right? So just being in this constant learning process and being willing to learn more where it's going to help your business. So guys, that's all I have for this video today. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a subscribe. Let me know what other videos you guys want to see in the comments below. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Sephora Gray Esquire. That is ESQ for short. I will see you on my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.